All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to episode 3 of our Rust for the Absolute Beginner tutorial series. And today, let's talk about scope and shadowing. All right, let's start with scope. So before we get started using this same new project to show some examples of how to help you better understand scope, right? Let's pause and think for a moment. Yeah, so when we hear the term scope, right, usually it is related to the range of which something that applies to maybe you or something. Say, for example, your job, your job scope. Yeah, so that is in layman terms what you have to do, the range of things you have to do in your job. Yeah, so that's for job scope. So coming back here to Rust, yeah, scope here basically refers to the scope of, say, for example, a variable. Yeah. So for example, let's remove all this. And in Rust, we can do something like this. Yeah. We can create another block by itself. Say, for example, let's create a variable here. We'll say let inner variable equals to 5. And let's do a print line. We'll say inner variable is, and we'll just print it out. All right. Okay, and notice that we declared inner variable here. Okay, let's try to use it out of this block. All right. We'll say print line out of block inner variable is. Yeah, same thing. Yeah. So we'll say inner underscore variable. And we'll save. Right, notice now, right, straight away, VS Code already tells us an error. Okay, let's see what the error is. Right, so it says cannot find value inner underscore variable in this scope. Yeah, not found in this scope. Okay, so if we go to our terminal here, and if we try to build the project, yeah, we'll get the same error as well. So why is this happening? Yeah, let's go back to our VS Code. All right. So this is happening because inner variable is declared in this inner scope. Yeah, this in this inner blocks scope. So it is not available out of it. Yeah. Hence this error. Yeah. So cannot find value inner underscore variable in this scope. This scope is referring to the scope of the main function. All right. So to fix this error, all we have to do is just to move this line out and declare it in the main function's scope. Yeah, so save that. And you'll notice that the error is gone. Yeah, so if we go back to terminal, right, let's try to clear this. And now if we build the project, yeah, we shouldn't get any more errors. And if we run it, yeah, notice that now the two print messages are out. Yeah. So that's one way of understanding what scope is, which I feel is very, very important for things to come. All right, now that we have gained a basic understanding of scope, let's talk a little bit about shadowing. Yeah, let's go back to VS Code. Okay, so over here, I'm going to change this. Okay, let's maybe change it to 6. All right, and let's remove this inner block for now. Okay, and let's print this. Okay, to just say variable is. Right, and shadowing, right, is basically reusing and overshadowing the previous declaration of a variable. Yeah, so for example, here we already declared an inner variable to hold the value 6. Yeah, okay, but we can also do this, right? Inner variable equals to 10. And if we print it out, right, let's say inner variable is now, and this will be same and save. let's go back to our terminal. Okay, and if we try to run this, yeah, so notice that it says 6 and then 10, even though we are using the same name, yeah, inner underscore variable. Okay, and notice that for the second print, it's no longer saying that it's 6, but it's 10. Now, if we try to add scope to this example, yeah, so let's go back to VS Code. All right, so now we are back in VS Code. Yeah, so first, okay, let's remove this line and let's add another block to have another inner scope. And over here, we'll say let inner variable, right? Using the same name, yeah, because we want to overshadow this declaration here, equals to, okay, basically we just want to multiply it by 2. Yeah, and once again, we'll print it out. Okay, we'll say inner block scope, and the value is, right? And we just want to print it out. Save that. Okay, and let's go back to terminal. All right, and if we try to run it, yeah, so notice that it first prints out variable is 6, and then inner block scope is 12, and then when we say inner variable is now 6 at the last print line. So why is this happening? Yeah, so let's go back to VS Code. Right, so the first print line it says 6, the second print line says 12, and the last print line it says 6 again. So this is happening because for the first print line, right, we have the value 6 for inner variable, hence it's 6, right? That is pretty straightforward. Okay, but once we go to this inner block, okay, we create and we redeclare inner variable to overshadow this here, and we multiply it by 2. Yeah, so you can see that in this inner scope, okay, we have access to the main function's scope. So in a way, you can think of this inner scope as a child of this main function's scope, and this main function's scope is a parent scope of this inner block scope. Yeah. All right. Hence, this will print 12. Yeah. But once we exit out of this inner scope of this child scope, and once we reach here, right, this prints 6 again. Yeah. And this is because the parent scope does not have access to the child scope, right? This inner scope here. Okay, but the reverse is possible. Yeah, the child scope has access, yeah, to the parent scope. Hence, this is 12. Okay, but this is still 6. Yeah, from here. Yeah, so in a way, when we combine scope and shadowing, yeah, this is how it might happen. Yeah, so hopefully this was helpful. And next, let's talk about data types in Rust. Yeah.